Have you ever felt like your life was shifting, like something was brewing beneath the surface, but you couldn't quite put your finger on it? Maybe things feel chaotic, uncertain, even a little overwhelming. But what if I told you that this discomfort might be a sign that your life is about to change for the better? Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, what feels like confusion, loss, or struggle might actually be clearing the path for something greater. Transformation doesn't always arrive with a clear invitation. It sneaks up on us through challenges, endings, and unexpected opportunities. And if you're experiencing certain signs, you might be on the verge of a breakthrough without even realizing it. In this episode, we'll explore 7 unmistakable signals that your life is about to change in a powerful way. If any of these resonate with you, take it as reassurance. Things are falling into place, even if they don't look that way right now. Let's dive in. 1. You're feeling lost and confused. Feeling lost is uncomfortable. It's unsettling to wake up and realize that what once made sense no longer does. The direction you were following feels unclear, and the certainty you once had seems to be slipping away. But here's something most people don't realize. This feeling of confusion is not a sign that you're failing. It's a sign that you're evolving. In Stoic philosophy, change is seen as a natural part of life. Nothing stays the same, and neither should we. Seneca reminds us, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." What feels like being lost is often just the in-between stage of shedding an old identity and stepping into a new one. Think about a caterpillar. It spends most of its life crawling, following a set pattern, doing what it has always done. But at a certain point it reaches a stage where it can no longer continue as it is. It enters the cocoon, a place of total darkness, uncertainty, and transformation. It no longer knows itself as a caterpillar, but it hasn't yet emerged as a butterfly. That phase, the cocoon stage, is where most people panic. They think, "I don't know where I'm going. I don't recognize my life. Something must be wrong." But nothing is wrong. In fact, something is very right. If you're feeling lost, it means you're no longer satisfied with where you were. And that's a good thing. Growth requires discomfort, and confusion is often the first step to clarity. It forces you to question, to explore, to seek something more. The fact that you're feeling this way means your soul is ready for a new chapter. You just haven't turned the page yet. The problem is that most people resist this phase. They rush to find answers, trying to force clarity instead of allowing it to unfold naturally. But real transformation doesn't happen overnight. It's a slow, sometimes painful process of letting go of old beliefs, habits, and even relationships that no longer align with who you are becoming. And that takes time. If you find yourself in this stage, the best thing you can do is embrace it. Stop fighting the confusion. Instead, get curious about it. Ask yourself, what am I outgrowing? What is no longer fulfilling me? What new direction is calling to me, even if I can't fully see it yet? Remember, feeling lost isn't the end of the road. It's the space between what was and what will be. Trust that clarity will come, just as the butterfly eventually emerges. Your job isn't to have all the answers right now. It's to stay open, keep moving forward, and trust that this uncertainty is leading you somewhere new, somewhere better. 2. You're losing people who were once close to you. Change has a way of revealing who truly belongs in our lives. As you grow, you might notice that certain people, friends, colleagues, even family members, start to drift away. Conversations don't feel the same. The connection that once seemed effortless now feels forced. Maybe they don't understand your new mindset, or maybe they just don't support your evolution. Either way, you feel the gap widening, and it hurts. But here's what you need to understand. This isn't a bad thing. It's a necessary part of growth. Seneca wrote, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve. The process is mutual, for men learn while they teach." The people we surround ourselves with shape our thinking, our actions, and ultimately, our future. As you evolve, you naturally outgrow relationships that were built on an older version of you. Imagine climbing a mountain. At the base, you're surrounded by many people, some old friends, acquaintances, people you've known for years. But as you ascend, the air gets thinner, the path more challenging. Not everyone is willing to make that climb with you. Some prefer to stay where they are, comfortable in familiar surroundings. And that's okay. Their journey is not your journey. When people start fading from your life, it's not always because of conflict. Sometimes it's just a natural separation. You're growing in a new direction, and not everyone is meant to continue with you. And while it may feel like a loss, it's actually the universe making space. Space for people who are more aligned with where you're going, rather than where you've been. I once heard a powerful analogy. Think of your life as a tree. Some people are like leaves, there for a season, changing with the winds of circumstance. Others are like branches, stronger but sometimes unreliable. And then there are the roots, the few people who truly anchor you, who support your growth no matter how much you change. When you start losing people, don't mourn the leaves or broken branches. Instead, recognize that you're being left with only the strongest, most enduring connections. If you're experiencing this right now, let it happen. Don't chase relationships that no longer feed your soul. Don't beg people to understand your growth if they're committed to misunderstanding you. Let them go with gratitude for the role they once played in your life. Every time you lose someone, remind yourself, I am making space for better connections, for deeper relationships, for people who see and support the person I'm becoming. Growth isn't always easy. It can be lonely. But trust that the people meant to walk this new path with you will appear in time. And when they do, you'll understand why certain people had to leave, so that the right ones could arrive. 3. Unexpected opportunities are showing up. Change rarely arrives with a grand announcement. More often it sneaks in through small, unexpected doors, an email you weren't expecting, a chance meeting with someone who shifts your perspective, an offer that seems minor but could lead to something life-changing. These moments may seem random, but they are anything but. They are signs that your life is shifting, that something greater is unfolding, even if you don't yet see the full picture. In Stoic philosophy, there is a deep respect for the natural flow of life, what the Stoics called amor fati, or love of fate. Instead of resisting what comes our way, they teach us to embrace it, to see every occurrence as an opportunity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make of it." When opportunities appear, no matter how small, it's a sign that life is nudging you towards something new. The question is, are you paying attention? Most people ignore small opportunities because they're waiting for something bigger, something obvious. But success, growth, and transformation often start with tiny moments that seem insignificant at first. A conversation that sparks a new idea, a job offer that doesn't seem perfect but leads to an important connection, a book recommendation that changes how you think. The key is to stay open, to recognize that life rarely hands us what we want in the exact way we expect. I remember hearing a story about a man who was struggling in his career, feeling stuck and directionless. One day, a friend mentioned a small side project that needed help. Nothing glamorous, nothing that seemed like a big break. But he said yes. That small opportunity led to another, and then another, until he found himself in an entirely new career path that was not only successful, but deeply fulfilling. He later realized that his breakthrough wasn't a single defining moment, but a series of small opportunities he had been willing to act on. If unexpected opportunities are showing up in your life, big or small, pay attention. The universe often tests us by sending small signals before delivering something greater. Maybe someone offers you a chance to collaborate on a project. Maybe you're invited to an event where you meet someone who changes your perspective. Maybe you stumble upon a new skill, hobby, or interest that unexpectedly leads to something bigger. These aren't coincidences, they're invitations. What separates those who experience transformation from those who stay stuck is action. Many people see opportunities but hesitate. They overthink, doubt themselves, and talk themselves out of it. But those who embrace change know that sometimes you just have to say yes, even when you're unsure. If life is placing new opportunities in front of you, don't ignore them. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Don't assume that only big changes matter. Often, the smallest shifts create the biggest transformations. Stay open, trust the timing, and be willing to take the first step, even if you don't yet know where the path will lead. 4. You feel the need to change something. There comes a moment when you wake up and feel it deep inside, an undeniable urge that something in your life needs to change. You might not know exactly what it is or how to go about it, but the feeling is there, persistent and unshakable. It whispers to you when you're alone, nudging you when you try to ignore it. You sense that the life you've been living no longer fits, as if you've outgrown an old version of yourself. This, more than anything, is a sign that transformation is near. In Stoic philosophy, change is not something to fear, but something to embrace. Seneca wrote, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." When you feel the strong urge to change something, your job, your habits, your mindset, or even your surroundings, it's not random. It's a sign that your soul is outgrowing its current environment, preparing for something more. And if you ignore this inner call, you'll feel restless, dissatisfied, and stuck. Think of it like a plant in a small pot. It starts off growing well, but as its roots expand, the space becomes too confined. The leaves may start to wilt, the growth slows, and eventually, if it's not replanted, it begins to wither. It's not because the plant is weak, but because it needs more room to thrive. This is exactly what happens to us when we resist change. We start to feel trapped, stagnant, and frustrated, not because something is wrong with us, but because we are meant to expand beyond our current limitations. I remember a time when I felt this way, an itch in my soul, an unexplainable feeling that I needed to change direction. Everything on the surface seemed fine. I had stability, routine, familiarity. But deep down, I felt like I was standing still while life was moving forward without me. I tried to ignore it, convincing myself that I should be grateful for what I had. But the feeling didn't go away. The more I resisted, the more uncomfortable I became. It wasn't until I finally acknowledged that my desire for change was valid that things started shifting. And once I took the first step, the next steps revealed themselves. This is the mistake most people make. They wait for absolute certainty before making a move. They want guarantees before they take action. But transformation doesn't work that way. The clarity you seek comes after you start, not before. If you wait until you feel 100% ready, you'll stay in the same place forever. If you feel the urge to change something in your life, don't ignore it. It's not a passing thought, it's a message. It's telling you that your current reality is no longer aligned with who you are becoming. You don't need to know all the answers right now. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need to take the first step, even if it's small. Start reading about what interests you. Experiment with new habits. Have conversations with people who inspire you. Trust that the feeling inside you isn't there to torment you. It's there to guide you. The pain of staying the same is always greater than the discomfort of change. If you feel the pull, follow it. It means your life is shifting, evolving, and preparing you for something better. Trust the process, take the first step, and watch how the path unfolds before you. 5. You're more focused on self-improvement. There comes a time when you stop wasting energy on distractions and start looking inward. You feel drawn to books, podcasts, or ideas that challenge you to grow. You begin questioning old habits and thought patterns that once seemed normal. Instead of being consumed by external noise, you start focusing on your mindset, discipline, and personal evolution. If this is happening to you, it's not random. It's a sign that your life is shifting in a profound way. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, wrote, "Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself." This isn't about being harsh on yourself, but about holding yourself to a higher standard. When you become more focused on self-improvement, it means you are stepping into a new version of yourself, one that no longer tolerates mediocrity, distractions, or self-sabotage. Think about it. Most people go through life on autopilot, repeating the same patterns day after day. But when you start to wake up, when you actively seek growth, that's when real transformation begins. It starts with small shifts, choosing to read instead of scrolling mindlessly, questioning your emotional reactions instead of being controlled by them, or waking up earlier to set a better routine. These changes might seem subtle, but they are the foundation for a completely new life. I remember the moment I realized my life was changing. Instead of spending time on distractions, I found myself craving knowledge. I started journaling, reflecting, and setting goals that actually mattered. The more I focused on improving myself, the more I noticed the world around me shifting as well. People who weren't aligned with my growth started drifting away. New opportunities started appearing. My mindset became sharper, my self-discipline stronger, and the best part? I didn't have to force anything. It all unfolded naturally because I had chosen to align my actions with a better version of myself. This is the power of self-improvement. It's not about becoming someone new. It's about uncovering who you were always meant to be. When you start valuing personal growth over temporary pleasure, you separate yourself from the majority of people who remain stuck in cycles of procrastination and comfort. And the more you commit to this path, the clearer it becomes that your life is about to change for the better. So if you find yourself drawn to self-improvement, if you're suddenly hungry for knowledge, discipline, and transformation, embrace it. It's not an accident. It's a sign that you are leveling up, that your future is being rewritten. Stay on this path, and you'll look back one day realizing that the moment you chose growth was the moment everything started falling into place. 6. Setbacks are piling up. Nothing tests your patience, resilience, and faith more than a series of setbacks. When everything seems to be going wrong, when doors close, plans fall apart, and life feels like an uphill battle, it's easy to think that something is working against you. But what if I told you that setbacks are often a sign that life is about to change for the better? The Stoics believed that obstacles aren't there to stop us, they are there to shape us. Marcus Aurelius famously said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, the very challenges that seem to be holding you back are actually propelling you forward. Think of an archer pulling back a bow. The more resistance there is, the greater the power when the arrow is finally released. Your setbacks are that resistance. They are pulling you back, testing your patience, and building your strength. But once the moment is right, all that tension will launch you forward with incredible force. I've seen this pattern in my own life and in the lives of others. Just when it seemed like nothing was working, job rejections, failed projects, unexpected losses, something would shift. The rejection would lead to a better opportunity. The failure would reveal a valuable lesson that paved the way for future success. The loss would create space for something more meaningful to enter. Every time it felt like everything was falling apart, it was actually falling into place. The mistake most people make when faced with setbacks is assuming that they are signs to give up. But what if setbacks are actually signals that you're getting closer to a breakthrough? What if life is simply testing you, making sure you're ready for the next level? Because here's the truth. If everything came easily, you wouldn't be prepared for what's ahead. Struggle builds resilience. Hardship strengthens character. The very things you are going through right now are shaping you into the person who can handle the success, abundance, and transformation that's coming. So if setbacks are piling up, don't lose hope. Instead, shift your perspective. Ask yourself, what is this teaching me? How is this preparing me for something greater? The worst thing you can do is give up right before your breakthrough. The pressure you're feeling isn't there to break you, it's there to refine you. Trust the process. Keep moving forward. Because when everything seems to be going wrong, it might just be that something incredible is about to go right. 7. You feel a deep sense of peace. Despite the chaos. Amid all the uncertainty, setbacks, and changes, there's an unexpected calm inside you. Even though things may seem chaotic on the outside, relationships shifting, opportunities appearing and disappearing, plans not unfolding as expected, you feel something different within. A quiet confidence, a deep knowing that everything is aligning the way it's supposed to. This inner peace is one of the clearest signs that your life is about to change for the better. The Stoics often spoke of ataraxia, a state of inner tranquility that remains unshaken by external events. Epictetus said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." This peace you feel is not about having everything figured out. It's about understanding that you don't need to. You have stopped trying to control every detail, forcing things to happen on your timeline, and instead, you trust the process. This is a rare and powerful mindset shift. Most people panic in the face of change. They resist, overanalyze, and exhaust themselves trying to hold on to what no longer serves them. But when you reach a point where you can observe the changes happening in your life without fear, without desperation, you are stepping into something greater. You are aligning with the flow of life instead of resisting it. I remember a time when my life was full of uncertainty. Everything seemed to be shifting at once. Old friendships fading, career opportunities uncertain, personal challenges stacking up. But deep down, I felt something unexpected. Peace. I couldn't explain it at the time, but I knew that something bigger was happening. I wasn't lost. I was being redirected. And looking back now, I realized that feeling was my intuition, confirming what my mind couldn't yet see. My life was transforming, and I just had to trust the process. If you feel this sense of peace, even when circumstances seem unstable, recognize it for what it is, a signal that you are on the right path. The external world may still be shifting, but internally, you've already stepped into the next version of yourself. You are no longer fighting against change. You are embracing it. And that is when life truly begins to open up for you. So don't ignore this feeling. Trust it. Let it guide you. Because when you can stand in the middle of chaos and still feel calm, it means you already know you are ready for what's coming next. Change is rarely obvious when it's happening. It often disguises itself as confusion, loss, unexpected opportunities, setbacks, and a deep, unshakable need to grow. But if you've recognized even one of these signs in your own life, take it as confirmation. You are in the middle of a transformation. even if you can't see the full picture yet. The Stoics remind us that we don't control everything that happens to us, but we do control how we respond. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Strength is not found in avoiding change, but in embracing it. It's in trusting that the challenges you face today are shaping you into the person you need to be for tomorrow. If you're feeling lost, know that clarity is coming. If people are leaving your life, understand that space is being made for those who truly align with your path. If opportunities are appearing, be ready to step into them. If setbacks are piling up, recognize them as the final test before your breakthrough. And if you feel a deep sense of peace despite the uncertainty, trust that you are exactly where you need to be. This is your moment. Your life is shifting, evolving, preparing you for something better. Don't resist it. Don't fear it. Step into it. Trust that everything is unfolding in your favor, even if you can't yet see how. Because one day you'll look back on this moment and realize it was the turning point that changed everything. Until next time, stay strong, stay present, and remember, growth isn't always comfortable, but it is always worth it.